Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. Make sure you are subscribed to the All This Math YouTube channel. Merch coming soon. All right, such as this. Also, make sure you have a copy of How to Use All This Math Volume 1, a book that's available on Amazon. It's a guide for parents to help parents to prepare their children for math class. So, on this lesson, we're going to be working on the order of operations. I wanted Assata to be in this video, but I think she said her hair was messed up, so she didn't want to be in the video, which is cool. So she's like sitting behind the scenes. But I'm going to ask her some questions, which I normally would do if she was in the video. But anyway, I'm gonna ask her some questions about what she should do first, second, third, fourth, and so on, and why she's taking those steps so that we can find the answer to this statement. Or I guess technically, this would be considered an equation. Would it be an equation? That's something I should know. I think it's an equation. But even if it is an equation, I can't explain why it's an equation. And that's a problem for me. Right? It's more than an expression, even though this to the left of the equal sign is an expression, but because there's an equal sign here and we want to find the answer, we could simplify, we could solve, but I've always been unclear about that. That's something I need to look into for my own edification. All right, so Asada, I want you to first read this question out loud or read this equation out loud. We're going to go with equation. That's what we're going to go for.
Divided by 8 times 14 minus 8.
All right. First thing I'm gonna correct you on. Most of that sounded good, except for you did not when you're in your verbal reading of this, you did not acknowledge these parentheses. All right. You didn't acknowledge these parentheses. All right. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. See, I'm fancy. I got two microphones now. One, two. Don't speak loud into the mic. All right. Run that back again in case they didn't hear it.
48 divided by 8 times 14 minus 8.
All right. So the mistake that you made was you didn't say you have to refer to this as a quantity. This expression inside the parentheses is called a quantity. So it's 48 divided by 8 times the quantity of 14 minus 8, or you could say minus the difference of 14 and 8, because subtraction yields a difference. So you could say the difference of 14 and 8, even though usually in mathematical language, the word and means addition, but because the word difference precedes it, that trumps, right? Basically trumps the word and, the typical meaning of the word and, right? So the difference of 14 and 8, or the quantity of 14 minus 8. All right, so run that back again.
48 48 divided by 8 parentheses 14 minus 8.
We don't say the word parentheses. We definitely don't do that. We ain't never gonna do that. It is a quantity. It is a quantity. 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 It is a quantity, or it is the difference of. The difference of. Take your pick. The quantity of or the difference of. Run it back. Say it right. Let's go.
48 divided by 8, the quantity of.
No. Times the quantity of. It's times the quantity of. You have to say what operation is being used. It's not just 48 divided by 8 quantity. What with the quantity? What is this 48? What is this 8 doing with this quantity? Right? An operation is like a verb. Is multiplication taking place? Is addition taking place? Is subtraction taking place? Is division taking place? Run it back. We're gonna say it until we get it right.
48 divided by 8 times the quantity of 14 minus 8.
That's valid. Okay. Now, what is the first step that you would take?
Multiply.
Multiply what?
8 times the quantity of 14 minus 8.
So you don't know the order of operations. You're embarrassing me on YouTube with all these people that's watching. Order of operations states if you choose to follow the order of operations, says you work out whatever is inside a grouping symbol first. Whatever inside a grouping symbol first. When you hear PEMDAS, you hear people say PEMDAS. Most people shouldn't actually use PEMDAS. When people use PEMDAS, the P stands for parentheses, meaning when parentheses are used as a grouping symbol, not when parentheses represent multiplication, but when they represent a grouping symbol. Like in this situation, the purpose of these parentheses is to group the 14 minus 8 by itself. Now, some people will say, well, can I use the distributive property? Under normal circumstances, you would be able to. But if you do that, then what you're doing is you're multiplying before you do division. And that violates the order of operations. If you're going to follow the order of operations, then you should follow it, right? Now, you might be one of those people that decides they don't like the order of operations, so they don't want to follow it. You also might be a person that likes to drive down the street and stop at green lights and proceed at red lights. I guess you're free to do that, but I hope you don't cause no accident. It's the same concept. If we're going to follow the order of operations, let's follow it. So, do what's in the grouping symbols first. What do you see inside the grouping symbol?
14 minus 8.
Tell me what the difference of 14 and 8 is.
6.
Okay, that's going to be our first step. So now, our next step is going to look like this. 48 divided by 8 times 6. Now, Assata, these parentheses, are they a grouping symbol? Or do they only represent multiplication?
Multiplication.
Right, because 6 is not a group. 6 is by itself. It's not a group. Destiny's Child was a group. You heard of Destiny's Child before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beyonce's a solo artist. Destiny's Child was the group, right? Parentheses are meant to enclose a group, right? When there's only a solo artist like Beyonce by herself, these parentheses represent multiplication. Now, what's your next step?
Multiply.
Who told you that?
Divide.
Who told you that? Are you guessing or are you following the order of operations?
I'm guessing.
You don't need to guess in math. You need to learn the order of operations. I think you're spending too much time on TikTok, not enough time practicing your art. You studying your art. You know how to see in the dark. It's like Dragonfly. Ain't that what Dragonfly Jones said? Yeah. Got to practice your art. Practice your art of math. Order of operations. Multiplication. Listen to this, right? And the side needs to memorize this. Multiplication or division, depending on what you see when you read the problem from left to right. Multiplication or, heavy on the word or, capital O, capital R. Multiplication or division. How do you know which to do first? Whichever you see first when you read the problem from left to right. Assata, read this problem out loud.
48 divided by 8 times the quantity of 6.
So, because I'm glad you said that, but let me correct you. Because this is not a grouping symbol anymore, you don't have to call it a quantity. You could call it that if you want to, but it's unnecessary. This is not a grouping symbol. This is a grouping symbol because this is a group of numbers. These two numbers are a group. This is only one number. We don't consider that a group. So you don't have to call it a quantity. You can just simply say 48 divided by 8 times 6. Now, according to the order of operations, what should you do next?
Divide.
And why should you divide?
First thing you see.
You got to be more specific.
It's the first thing you see when you read the problem from left to right.
So what if this said 48 plus 8 times 6? Would you still do addition first?
No,
Why not?
because it's not the next step.
What do you mean that's not the next step? Explain yourself.
Multiplication or division.
Right. So you see what I did there? You have to make sure, like parents, if you're watching this, it's not enough for your children to get the correct answer. It's not enough. They have to be able to explain why their answer is correct. And even if they get an incorrect answer, when they're checking their work and reevaluating what they did and analyzing their steps, they should also be able to explain to you and explain to themselves why their answer was incorrect. So they should always be able to explain. We should train our children in terms of how to explain their work. They should show their work and be able to explain their work. So Assata, you saying that you need to do 48 divided by 8 next? What's the quotient when you do 48 divided by 8? What took you so long, man? So if 48 divided by 8 is 6, this part becomes 6. Now you're left with, what's the last step?
Multiply.
Multiply what?
6 times 6.
What's that product?
36.
Right. So you notice, look what I did. Look what I did, right? Notice when I said when you do 48 divided by 8, I didn't say what's the answer. I didn't say that, right? I'm trying to reinforce math vocabulary. So I asked her what the quotient was, right? I asked her what the quotient was, right? And then just now, when she said 6 times 6, or when I asked her what 6 times 6, I don't remember what I said. I asked her about the product, right? I didn't just say what's the answer, because the product is the answer or the result of doing multiplication. So tell me what the product of 6 times 6 is again?
36.
36, or 6 to the second power. They're the same thing. So 36 is the final answer. 36 is our final answer, or our solution. 36. I think this is an equation. This always throws me off. I need to know. I'm about to look that up as soon as I finish this video. Assata, you going to be in the next video?
No.
Why weren't you in the video anyway? What's wrong with your hair? Your hair looks fine to me.
No, that's
It's not up to your standards. It's not. Uh, what your edges? You need me to swoop your edges for you? You need me to swoop your edges for you? I'm nice. I'm not just good at math. I know how to swoop edges too. I'm a man of many talents, Assata. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. You better ask about me. Ask about me. You keep playing. You keep underestimating my abilities and my talents and skills. Anything you want to say to the people from behind the scenes? Hmm? Is there? I guess not. All right, look, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Well, I forgot to say that earlier. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video with some other people, especially somebody that you know that likes to argue on social media when somebody posts one of these problems and they loud and wrong, right? Even if it's a math teacher. And that's another thing. There are a lot of math teachers, right? People that go to work every day, Monday through Friday, get a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? They get their summers off, right? They might even teach summer school in summertime, and they might not know this. They might still get this wrong. Don't be intimidated by people. If you know the order of operations, don't be intimidated by somebody that just says, "Well, I'm a math teacher, so therefore I'm right." Nah, don't be one of them. Don't be one of them people, because sometimes math teachers get it wrong. The order of operations is the order of operations. A lot of people never learned the order of operations. A lot of people learned PEMDAS, unfortunately. And if you only learn PEMDAS and you didn't learn the more extended explanation of the order of operations, then it would be logical that you would assume that you always multiply before you divide. Because in PEMDAS, the M is always before the D. So that makes sense, essentially, right? But if you learn the order of operations, you learn something that I was discussing with Assata. You multiply, or, heavy on the or, multiply or divide, depending upon what you see first as you read the problem from left to right. In this case, division comes first, multiplication comes next. All right? So let's practice the order of operations. Make sure we know the order of operations. Make sure these kids know the order of operations. All right? And also, grab my book. I talk about order of operations in my book too. How to Use All This Math, Volume 1. I'll see y'all on the next video.